Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In War of the Visions, I previously made a video about the top launch UR characters in the game. And then this video is going to be sort of a companion to that. It will be talking about all of the non-launch UR units, and then also the limited time URs. I was thinking about waiting until doing this video until the actual release of the game, since you can't pull those units at launch anyways. But there's one character that I wanted to talk about. He's kind of a trap that maybe newer players might fall into. And that is Thancred, so let's see if I can find him. I don't have him myself. I was smart and I avoided him. And then there's no information on like the website or Twitter or Facebook for the global release of War of the Visions about the Final Fantasy XIV collaboration, but if it comes out on the day that it is released, just like in JP, then Thancred is somebody that we're going to have to deal with. Okay, so there's somebody in my friends list who has a level 89, and actually no equipment at all, so we can get kind of a pure look at the stats here. Thancred is technically a free unit, because you farm a quest, you get coins, and then you can use those coins to get shards of him, and then level him up. And then you can also turn in those coins to get a drop of him. You don't need to pull him from a hatcher. So at first glance, he seems like a free character that anybody can get and use. The thing is that those free shards that you can get for Thancred, it will only get him up to 2 crystals that we see here. And then to really get the most use out of a character, you need to get them to 3 crystals. To get to 2 crystals, you need 120 shards. To get to that 3rd crystal, you need another 120 shards. To get those last 120, either you're going to have to pull them with a very low pull rate from kind of a free hatcher that you can pull once a day, or you can spend money, use lapis to pull in the hatcher, and then every time you pull in the hatcher, you'll get maybe like another 5 or 10 shards of Thancred. So as you can see, that gets pretty expensive. And then if you want to go even further to 4 crystals or 5 crystals, then you need to spend a ton of money in this game. So yeah, only super whales should go after him. I recognized this pretty immediately, so I skipped him completely, and that was one of the better decisions that I've made. A lot of people in JP, the game's brand new and people don't know how the game works. A lot of people got him and then used a bunch of materials to raise him to level 60 and then stalled. They couldn't get him above 60, and now nobody's using him because you want 79 or higher characters. But if you can get Thancred leveled up to 79 or higher, he's really good actually. But HP we can see here, that's almost like Engelbert status. He doesn't have any passive provoke or active provoke abilities. So he's a little limited as a tank, but you can certainly send him into the middle of the enemies and just have him sit there and then take attacks, and then he'll be alright. Attack is also pretty good, but it's not top tier, but certainly he can join in. He has some medium to short range attacks, but nothing long range. His main job is Gunbreaker. That has some interesting support abilities, like defensive self-buffs, but also attacks. Another sub-job he has is Dragoon, which is really good, but he doesn't have the Dragon Dive. That's the one where it comes down and hits multiple enemies. That's one of the best attacks for Dragoons. It's too bad that he doesn't have it. And then his last sub-job is Red Mage, so he gets some interesting combination of abilities. He gets a light attacking spell, Banish Gu. He also gets Cura, and then Esuna, and some other stuff, so he can be a good support character as well. So yeah, he can do a lot. It's just, it takes a lot of money to get him to that point. Okay, next, let's talk about another limited time character. And a lot of people are thinking about this guy. And that is Orlando. I guess we'll pick this one. And then of all of the characters on this list that might be worth waiting to install the game, until the character is released might be Orlando. If you really wanted to do the reset marathon for him, you maybe would have to skip out on the first couple months. If you did that, you would miss out on Yashutura and Thancred, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. And I think it would still be early enough that you could still get the all of those pre-registration things, like Lapis and the Excalibur sword and stuff. However, it's impossible to say when the Tactics collaboration is going to come to global. It might follow the same schedule as JP, or it might not, so I gotta be aware of that. But Orlando's really strong. I don't think he has any weaknesses, but very good attacker with a variety of like status effects. He can do it range. He has a little bit of area of effect attacks, so he's really good. He's not invincible. He's not unstoppable. I don't have him. I don't regret not getting him. And then, although I'd rather not play him in PvP, he's not unbeatable. And yeah, he's not too scary, but still, he's one of the best attackers in the game. Okay, and then coming with him in the Tactics collaboration was Ramza here. Let's see if we can find a high level one. Here we go. And then Ramza, he's not the best at anything. He's just kind of good at everything. But like attacking and chaining, he can do some healing as well, support abilities, and he's pretty tanky himself. And then nice buffs as well. He can like raise the brave or the speed of your other characters. So he's really solid. And then of all of the UR characters in the game, he is probably the easiest to get to 5 crystals, and so level 99. And then you can get his Trustmaster. Because, at least in JP, when the Tactics collaboration was released, there was a 3-step step-up. And then that last step guaranteed a get of Ramza. And then they also gave you a lot of free shards of Ramza. I think I have about 80, which is pretty crazy. And then you can buy more from the shop and then do that kind of thing. So yeah, the hurdle for maxing him out was much lower than for any UR that has been released so far. So if you wanted just a UR character, just any character at level 99, Ramza is your best chance at that. Okay, so to continue to talk about limited time characters, next we'll talk about Christmas Ramada and Christmas MashaD. Again, it's hard to say when these characters will come to global, if at all, and if they have like the same abilities and stats and stuff. But if there's some people that are playing JP and they want to know, then I can talk about them for them. But Christmas Ramada is pretty similar to Stern. So main job soldier, sub job ninja. So that means very high damage from shuriken, and then nice movement abilities. We see movement 4, jump 2, and then STEMI from the soldier, which will greatly increase their attack but lower their damage mitigations. Stern, he's very risky to use because he's fragile, he has low HP. But Christmas Ramada has higher HP, so she's a little bit more beefy than Stern. Okay, next up is, and I have this character, so we'll go to my box, Christmas MashaD, and I feel like she's the better of those two characters. MashaD is even tankier, and then has more kind of variety of attacks. But main job Dragoon, sub-job Viking, and then also Hunter sub-job. So she has a lot of variety of attacks, like short range all the way to long range. Can hit single targets or multiple targets. And then she has a jump 4 for being the main job Dragoon. That's very useful actually. And yeah, she's super strong, pretty tanky as well. She's great at 79, but I'm eagerly awaiting for the chance to take her to 89 or 99. So I think that sums up all of the limited characters so far. Next we'll talk about standard pool characters. Here is Victora. She came out last month or so. She's also a main job Dragoon, only the second UR after Christmas MashaD. But she has the Soldier sub-job, so she can get STEMI, that high attack, low defense ability. And then the other sub-job is Thief, so that gives her some interesting movement abilities, and then also support. So like she can steal from enemies, or she can slow them down with a steal time. But yeah, very high stats as far as attack, one of the best attackers in the game. And then also when she was released in JP, there was an event where you could craft an ice spear. Let's see if I have that. There it is. Yeah, pretty strong and perfect for her, so yeah. Another standard pool UR is Bineta. I've talked about her a lot in recent videos, but she's kind of an Engelbert killer. She has a lot of advantages to her, which increases her damage against him. But she is Dark Element, so extra damage on light characters. She has Armor Piercing, which will negate the character's defense rating. And then also Man-Eater, so that's like a Slayer that will do extra damage. Bineta is good at lots of different stuff. If you put her in Assassin, she has that damage piercing. If you give her the Thief subjob, she'll get like greater like movement abilities. But you can also use her for guild farming because she has Mug. And then another subjob is a Double Gunner, so that will give her great ranged attacks. So depending on like what level of quest you are playing, easy or medium or hard, you can choose between these different jobs and really tailor her for that quest. She's not the easiest character to use. She likes to backstab and stuff, so you need to be good with your movement. But yeah, fun character and pretty strong as well. There's one other standard pool unit that I do not have, and that is Kitong. She's real cool. She is a main job ninja. There are not any other URs with that, but that makes her fast. That gives her good movement. Move 4, jump 3, that's pretty crazy. And then Shuriken, that long-range attack. Also really good evade. And then a lot of people in Arena, they'll make an evade team. So they'll use Kiton, they'll use Shadow Links, and then another character with like a samurai job. And everybody's evade is so high, and they're all buffing each other, that you don't need to use a tank. If you are hit, that will most likely mean that you go down, but you can evade so many attacks that it won't matter most of the time. Kiton is a lot of fun, but I actually don't see her used too much. Not in friends lists, not in high-level content or raids, but yeah, I don't know. She is Earth Element, so she has the advantage on both Orlando and Federica, who are still really popular characters, but for some reason I don't see Kiton a lot. Next, let's talk about Yeruma. There she is. She's really cool. I wish I could level her up. I mean, I wish I could level up everybody, but just don't have the materials and resources. But if Yeruma was in the launch pool, I would actually put her in the top 5 reset marathon characters. She's a really good attacker from short to mid-range, and then some support abilities from having the Thief sub-skill. But Viking and Knight, she has breaks, she has very high damage attacks, she has a Berserk mode if you wanted to use her there. But fairly tanky as well. I think I said earlier that Stern is like a very strong attacker, but with some weaknesses. Yeruma here, not as many weaknesses, I would say. If I do pull her in global, I would like to work on her, I think. Okay, next, let's talk about one of my more favorite characters, and that is SassyAki. And then, if you had asked me like 3 weeks ago what I felt about her, I would say she's cool, but not necessary. But I've been using her a lot more lately. First when the dark meta started up, and then after going through the tower, and she's really strong. I think you want to use her as a tank, and then most people, they look at her low HP, and they immediately think, no, she can't do tanking. But her innate damage mitigation is so high that she takes way less damage, like 3-digit damage most of the time. She does take a bit of setup in order to get better defense against the attacks that are coming, but if you know the type, if you know the element, or if you know if it's like slash or projectile or magic or whatever, you can give her equipment or vision cards to deal with that, and that will really help her with her defense. And yeah, she can take a lot of hits. And then I would say she's a better attacker than Engelbert as well. Samurai, it has some nice medium-range attacks, and it also really helps with her evade. And that's another advantage she has over Engelbert, higher evade as well. And then another subjob is the Mage Knight, and then this is kind of like the magic tank subjob, so she can do better magic tanking than Engelbert as well. But then also do some kind of dark element magic attacks with her sword, so yeah, she's surprisingly good. She does take a little bit of thought to make work, but I think she's worth it. Next we'll look at a couple characters that are my favorite to use. One is Federico, and then the other is Lucia. These are both gunners. Lucia is an out-and-out attacker, really good at chains, while Federico is more good at like attacking plus support for your characters. But they also really work well together, which is what I've been doing for like the last month in Arena and stuff. And then just like how Bineta is kind of a tank killer, so is Lucia. She also has the defense piercing, so she's really good against Engelbert. And then she has wind element, so that means she gets an advantage on Monto. That's the character that everybody gets, that is a tank. He is earth element. And yeah, because their normal attacks have a range of 4, they're really good for farming easy quests because they don't need to move as far to attack guys. And they also don't need to spend AP points to get those ranged attacks out, so I really do like those two. And then finally, we will talk about Miranda, who's maybe my favorite character. But she's good at everything, basically. Main job Red Mage, sub job of Time Mage and Paladin. So with Red Mage, she has a mix of attack spells, Water, Watera, and then also healing spells. She has like Cure, Raise, Esuna, and then also physical attacks, most specifically the Jammer Thrust, which is one of the best attacks in the game. Pretty good range and good damage as well, and you can also use it 6 times per battle, which is pretty good. Sub-job Time Mage, she gets like Quick and Haste and Slow, and that's excellent. There are some lower rarity characters that you want to use just for those abilities. But to be able to get it in this UR package is really good. And then another sub-job is Paladin, which means she wants to be a tank. I've never used her as a tank, because she doesn't have quite as high HP or defense as other tanks, but it could be interesting to sort of like mix and match her skills and abilities. But yeah, she's basically like good at everything. Usually for characters that are kind of like Swiss Army knives, it's more like they're not bad at anything rather than being good at everything, but Miranda's actually good at everything, so she's kind of my do-everything character. And she can really fit on any team that you make. Okay, so that is a look at all of the non-launch UR characters, plus limited time UR characters. In short, I would say avoid Thancred unless you are a mega whale and you're willing to spend lots of money to get him to level 79 or higher. And then the only limited character so far that I would recommend waiting for to do the reset marathon would be Orlando, but you can certainly get by without him, so that's something to keep in mind. Okay, I think that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.